You're listening to the Inspire Excellence podcast, recorded at the BVA headquarters, with your hosts, Kevin Miller and Tommy Ahlquist. Each episode is focused on shedding new light on different perspectives to create dialogue that inspires excellence.
Welcome to the Inspire Excellence podcast. Tommy Ahlquist and Kevin Miller. And today, Tommy, well, I'll just leave the intro up to you, sir.
Well, Kevin, we're going to talk a little more BSU football. Hey, Caves and Prater better watch out.
We're ready. Ahlquist and Miller, we're ready.
We had them on and we warned them, right?
Oh, they backed down quite a bit, sir. They're ready.
I don't think they backed down at all. But actually, Kevin and I are big football fans, college sports fans, and fans of BSU. And today we are honored to have senior this year, starting defensive player Kekoa Nawahine, who is going to be our guest to talk about him and his growing up here in Boise and then playing for the Broncos. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
This will be fun. So I know you pretty well. I knew you when you were in high school, and you were a standout local high school athlete.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit to start about your decision to go to BSU and just what it was like going through the process and becoming a BSU football player.
Yeah. I mean, being a local kid, I've grown up watching BSU ever since I was little. So, I mean, that's been like the dream to go see these guys go out, play on the blue and watch these games. And that's what it's always been a dream to me. And then growing up, I always knew I wanted to play college football. And my senior year, I mean, I hadn't really had that much interest throughout most of high school, just a little bit. And then my senior year, I was able to play well enough where I got noticed by BSU, I guess. And when they offered me, it was like the craziest night. I remember me, my mom, and my dad went and met Coach Pete up at the football facility. And, he's like, your offer's on the table, and it was in a little envelope. And I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. I was like, do I open it now? What do I do? And so he's like, just take that and go with your parents. And so we went out and, as soon as we got outside of the football facility, I was opening it up and seeing what it was and saw that I had been offered a scholarship. And that was just the craziest feeling, just seeing how happy and proud my parents were, and being able to see that all this work and this dream of, being able to play football at the next level has finally come to reality. And I knew that's exactly where I wanted to play. And it still feels like a dream to me being at BSU now. It's kind of surreal that these kids are watching me out on the blue, like I was in their shoes 10 years ago watching the football players. And so it's surreal to me, and it's a dream come true to be able to live that out every day and kind of recognize the opportunity that I've been given.
There's a lot of kids out there that listen to this podcast. If you had to give any advice to Idaho kids that might be listening and they see BSU and they see, we have Corey Hall working here, and now you see Van Der Esch in the NFL. I think there's a lot of great examples of Idaho kids that go on and play and do great. What would be your advice to them?
I think sometimes people don't dream big enough, I guess is my advice. Is you have a dream, you have a goal out there, and maybe some people don't think that's what you can do, or even that's reasonable for you. But if you attack that goal and that dream with a plan and give it everything you have, like it's your plan A and there's no other plan, then you can make that happen for yourself. And that's how kind of been my mentality all of my life. Is I don't think that I think we fail when we don't push ourselves to the absolute limit and try to really reach, if we even ever reach our potential, but strive for that in our lives. And we have to start with a dream or a goal and move forward with a plan to execute that.
Certainly the adjustment from high school to college football, everybody dreams except Tommy. He wanted to shoot the hoops and still can. Achilles okay, brother?
No, Achilles ended that dream.
Well, okay. But the idea of playing college football, you're living the dream, but going from high school here in Idaho to Boise State, a renowned program that you've watched as a little kid, what was that like? Were the athletes, were you on par? Were they a step faster? Was the game fast to you, or was it the same speed as in high school?
I think So are you asking like the biggest transition, I guess, maybe?
Right.
I think the biggest transition for me was, after coming home from my mission, there was a lot of physical aspects that I needed to kind of.
Can we talk about that just briefly before you kind of gloss past that? So,
yeah.
So I knew you before in high school, and everyone was so excited when you were going to go to BSU, and you were just such a gifted athlete and excited for you. And then this decision came to, do I go take 2 years off? And 2 years, you're not going to be doing anything physical. You're not going to be working out. Here you are, you finally get your dream. You get the letter from Coach Pete, and now you decide to go on a mission. How hard was that for you?
That was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. And I mean, being an 18-year-old kid, you have on one hand this dream that you've had since you were a kid, to be able to play football at the next level. And on the other hand, to do what you feel is right inside. And my whole life I had planned on serving a mission and going, and my older brother served a mission, and I'd always followed his example. He's one of my biggest role models. And as time got closer, it was a little bit more real for me, how it was my choice, because my dad didn't go on one. And really, there was no one in my life that was like, no, you should go. Besides my brother, he was always saying you should go. But most people in my life were saying that I should stay and not go. And, there's still a lot of good that you can do here. You can serve your mission here. There's people that you can help here and whatever. And one of the biggest people that were like that is my mom. And it's okay that she's all right with me saying that too. Cause
I didn't know if you'd bring that up.
Yeah, no,
I remember those days, and here you have a scholarship, your dream sitting there, and really the people closest to you saying, hey, what are you doing? Yeah. Stay here and play football. Don't go do this hard thing.
Right.
And I'll tell you, in all my years watching people go on missions, it's one of those times I thought, wow, this kid is going because he wants to go. But I remember you leaving thinking that would be brutally hard when really everyone else in your world saying, hey, here's your pathway, it's your dream, and you went.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what made it. I mean, my mom was like, no, don't go. And just all the time. And if you know my mom, she can be very influential. She's a very, she's a very powerful woman. But at the end of the day, I'd said a prayer. I'd been praying for months, but the one that I truly remember, I'd said a prayer, and I knew without a doubt that I needed to go on a mission, and that if I went on a mission, everything, all these doubts, whatever it was, worries that I had in my mind were going to work themselves out. And so, if you have a feeling like that, there's really up to no debate from there.
Yeah, I jumped in. I'm sorry, because then I'm going to ask you one other question. I remember when you got home in the summer, as I remember, right?
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you, and I'll never forget, you said, I'm going to start this year. And I thought, well, wait a minute. You're just coming off a mission where you haven't lifted a weight or been running, and you're going to go jump in the middle with, these athletes that have been, working out all spring and summer and preparing. I don't think this is going to work out so well, but you did it, right? So now getting back to Kevin's question, what was that like coming off your mission and then going right into a season?
Yeah, no, just a little side note real quick. I think that goes back to what I was saying is like, your reaction to that of me starting that year was about the same that I got from everyone else. Like, come on, don't shoot too high. You're going to disappoint yourself or whatever. And at the end of the day, like I said, you gotta dream big and go make it happen. And my biggest supporter in that was my mom. So I'll give her credit in that. She had full faith in me being able to do that. But the biggest transition going into college football is the mental transition. There's so much more to the game than I ever realized in high school. Just every single little detail and everything. So the biggest part was mentally being able to learn a defense, learn my position, different techniques, and things like that. I think that is where the biggest gap can be created as far as talent at the next level. Is everybody's talented, everybody's athletic, and the people that are able to separate themselves or lose themselves is dependent on the mental side of the game. As far as mentally coming back or physically coming back, though, the first few months were pretty rough in the summer. I had worked out on my mission. I would get up at 5:30 in the mornings to go work out, and I mean, I thought I was working hard. Like, you think that you're pushing yourself hard, whatever. I'm working out at 5:30, I'm dedicated. But when you come back to college workouts, it's a whole nother dynamic. Like, you got all these other superior athletes that are pushing you and pushing each other. And I remember like one of the first workouts I did was decks. We run the stadium every week. And I was like, oh, okay. They said the new guys could do like 6 when everyone else was on, I think it was like 11 or something. And I was like, no, I'm going to do 11 with these guys. I'm going to try to stay up to the front of the pack. And I got to like 4 and I was done, like crawling up these things. And I stopped at 6. Like I was like, oh, I'll pace myself from here. But yeah, that was a big adjustment coming back, but it's been good.
Well, building on that, just the speed of the game, the difference between high school and college.
There's a big jump, and it's kind of hard, like having the 2-year gap. I feel like I don't really remember like high school that well from going into it. It's kind of like college was a fresh slate and this is all I knew, but there is definitely a speed jump, especially when you're a kid coming from Idaho, where I'm not saying if you're from Idaho, you can't play at the next level or be successful at the next level, obviously, but the level of competition in Idaho is not as high as other states like California, Texas, whatever. And so now you're getting all these kids. There's just a lot more people that are faster than you, stronger than you, whatever. And so the speed of the game is a pretty big jump. You just got to find your edges where you can.
Talk to us about your position because I know you and because I am a big fan and we go to all the games, watch all the games. I watch you play. And it's a very mental position, right? Talk us through reads. Talk us through, what that's like, because as I watch you, it's an interesting position to play because you've got to really be reading that offense and then deciding where to go help your defense. So talk a little bit about your position.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time when people ask what position I play and I'm like safety, they're like, "Oh, you're that fast," huh? I'm like, well, I'm smart, so I try to make up for it in my intelligence of the game. But the biggest thing at safety, like you said, as being a mental position is, I mean, you just have to understand what the offense is trying to do. First, you need to understand what you want to do as a defense, like what your call is, what your responsibilities are, and where you fit into that. And then from there, you can read your keys. So, I mean, the biggest thing with any position and obviously safety is you need to be able to read your keys, understand what your keys are, and read your keys to be able to react to what they're telling you to do. So say you're reading the tight end. If he blocks down and you have a run fit off of that, you need to come fit off of that and know where you're fitting, what gap you're fitting, and who else is fitting the other gaps, or if he releases for a pass, what coverage responsibilities you have in that. And so the mental aspect of the game is all dependent on your responsibilities within that play and reading your keys and reacting from there. And where you can gain cheats is being able to understand what offenses like to do and how they want to attack. And so you can kind of have that in your mind as you're watching film and then going out and practicing.
Do you watch a lot of film?
Yeah. I try to. Right now, I try to just be consistent in watching film every day, even if it's like just for 30 minutes. But during the season, I mean, you're there all day long. That's your thing. But I think the biggest jump that you can get is watching it in the preseason.
Well, that's a good point. What's your day like during the season?
During the season?
Yeah.
So our schedule is being changed this year, but previously it was you'd have all your classes before noon. So you'd work out in the morning once or twice a week, scheduled around your classes. And then after noon, you'd go to the facility. Position meetings would start at 1:30. We'd have meetings, film, and then we'd go out the practice field at 3, be done around like 6 probably, and then watch film. Well, I mean, eat, shower, whatever, watch film for about another hour that night, and then go home, do homework or sleep, whatever you needed.
You lost your defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Talk to us about that. He seemed like an amazing coach.
Yeah. Coach Avalos was a beast. I mean, he's a great guy, and I loved playing for him. And it was kind of a shock, like when he did it. I'd always I'd always known that he was going to leave eventually. You know, some school is going to come by with more money and be able to be a better opportunity for him in his coaching career. And so I was just hoping that he stayed for one more year during my senior year. And when he announced that he was leaving, it was pretty emotional for the defense especially, but I think we responded really well to it. We came together as players, and it was just a different feel that I'd felt in years before, as far as like player leadership and just unity, I guess. And I mean, I love the new defensive coordinators now. They're great guys. Coach Danielson and Coach Schmedding are going to do a great job together, and so I'm excited to see where it goes.
You're pretty tall for a safety, right? How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
6'2".
Yeah.
And so tell us about the coming year. It's your senior year. What's the defense going to be like? New quarterback. Give us some insight from your perspective on the season. And then we had Brad Larondo on, and he talked about the big game, the first big game.
Right.
That certainly circled on everyone else's calendars. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season. It's crazy that it's my senior year already, but I'm excited for the team, and we got a lot of guys returning on defense and a lot of guys that are comfortable playing with each other and you know, just trusting each other and having each other's backs. And so on defense, I'm excited to go out there and play around and fly around and play for each other and for the new defensive coordinators that we have. And on offense, I'm excited too to see, you know, with Brett gone, there's a lot of questions being raised and who's going to be the new quarterback and how they're going to be. But we've got a lot of playmakers on offense that I'm excited to see how they go out and play this season. And obviously the first game coming up, you know, I think about it all the time. I try to wake up in the morning and just visualize the game and plays that I want to make. And so I'm just excited to see us go out together as a team and give it our best for the season.
Well, you think about how the game has changed 5-6 years ago. Urban Meyer brings the spread, maybe 10 years ago, brings the spread from Utah to Florida. They think it's not going to work. Then it becomes the next big offense in college football and now pro football. Then you've got the run pass option. As a safety, how do you handle the run pass option? Is this again, you see some teams in Boise State using it to a degree as well. I mean, you know, you're talking about keying on the tight end or the back, and you make the wrong key, and you know, touchdown.
Yeah. No, it definitely makes things difficult with the run pass option, just in the name, making more options for the offense to have and read the defense. But I think that just goes back, like, simply is what's your main responsibility as your position on defense for that play? What's your main responsibility? Make sure that's handled and be able to move on from the next. So say you're in coverage, you're locked on your guy, and if you notice that it's a run, then you can add on to that. Or if you're in a zone, as a DB, your first responsibility is going to be the pass because there's nobody else to really handle that in the back end. But it's just reading your keys and just making the game as simple as you can and not being wrong and reacting, or otherwise they get big plays.
Is there extra pressure, do you feel, because you're playing at home and this is your home?
I wouldn't say pressure is the right word. I think it's just an extra motivation or an extra responsibility in realizing, you know, the kind of reputation that playing on the blue has gotten over the years, especially for past Boise State teams. It's just having the mentality that when teams come in there, they're going to get our best. And obviously they're going to be giving us their best as well because they want to come in and win on the blue. But I wouldn't say
expectation.
I would say it's an expectation. It's definitely an expectation among the players and the team. And it's just it's an amazing feeling playing at home on the blue and in front of the crowd. So.
Kind of like your coach.
What's that?
Coach Harsin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who played high school and then played on the blue. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just different. It's that home feel and it's the blue, especially. There's so much like surrounded around the blue turf that there's, like you said, there's just an expectation that we're going to go out and we don't lose on the blue.
Hey, we're sitting in our little room here, and last year you had the turnover throne. So when we saw that here at our little company, we went and got the exact replica, and we call it the deal throne. So it's sitting over there. So
yeah,
tell us about how fun things like that are. It's actually kind of refreshing because I think from the sideline, Coach Harsin seems like an intense dude,
right?
Like a very, very intense guy. So it's fun for you guys to mix in some fun every once in a while. Tell us how motivating that's been, and will we see the throne back this year?
Yeah, no, that's that, just like you said, that is so fun. Like before games, in our meetings, like the day before games, our coach would kind of make up a little montage of clips of turnovers and stuff, and the defense would be getting all hyped in there, and it's just a lot of fun. Like when you have those kind of energetic moments with your teammates and stuff, and you see other people making plays, and then when they go out on the game and make a play, get a turnover, and everyone's waiting for them, you know, making a line for them to go sit on the throne, and it's just a fun atmosphere to be around, and it brings joy to the game. I mean, we all play it because we love it and we have fun, and so just making that the center of it at that point when people go out and make good plays, it's fun. And if it'll be returning, I don't know, because the coach that had introduced it isn't there anymore. So I'm not sure about. I would guess that it is, or some variation of it.
It's great. You know, you take a look at legacy. Have you thought about your legacy? This is your senior year. Coach Pete recruited you, signed you. Now you're under Coach Harsin. The legacy continues. And you've got a lot of kids in Optimist football, high school football, have studied you, looking at you, probably at the football camps. You're going to mentor them if you haven't already. What is that like to go from being the student now to sharing what you've known, again, as a local kid?
Yeah, like I had said earlier, it's just kind of surreal to me. It's like a dream come true being in the flipped roles, you know what I mean? Being the player, being a player at Boise State and compared to a high school kid or a younger kid. And I've thought a lot about, I mean, I always think a lot about why I was blessed with athletic talents or why I'm in the position that I'm in. And as far as my legacy, I've always just wanted to be able to help people in whatever way I can. And especially younger kids that have aspirations of playing at the next level. If you have dreams, like I'm a big person in going after your dreams, no matter how big they may seem to anyone else, go after your dreams. And so if I can help any kid in any position, in any, you know, at any age, be able to work towards that in any way, I love those opportunities. And so, yeah, I always go help out at the camps, and I'm helping out this year at the camps as well. And I have little brothers. I have 3 little brothers in high school, and 2 of them play football. And so the youngest, I just love working with them. I mean, I love being able to see them develop and me grow as well. I think you grow a lot when you try to teach and when you try to make it simple. And I think there's just a lot of good things that can come from helping other people out.
It's great. I asked your permission before we started, but I know your mom, you mentioned her a couple times today, and just being your biggest fan, right?
Yeah.
Your mom and your dad, great people. She had a serious health scare. Tell us what it was like going through that as her son.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So she had had a stroke last May. So it just came up on the year mark a few days ago, a week ago or so. And it was just me and her in Arizona. And I won't go into all the details because that could be a while, but it was just me and her in Arizona, and we were flying back to Boise that day. But we were there because I was training for football. And she'd had a stroke, and I was the only one there. And so, you know, after this big, long story, we get her to the hospital. And I think the hardest part for me in that moment was I was there. It was just me there. Well, I had one of my cousins lived in Arizona, so she was able to come there as well with her husband. But just seeing her there and me being so helpless to someone that had, given me everything up to that point was one of the hardest things for me emotionally. And thinking back to that of just seeing her struggle before she had went into the operation room. Because when you have a stroke, I mean, obviously your brain is like needing oxygen, dying from oxygen, whatever. And it was hard. It was kind of like an out of body experience at that point. But seeing her recovery and her work towards a full recovery has been one of the greatest things that I've seen. And as hard as a moment as that was, and I've talked about this before, but as hard as that is, there's good that comes in every moment. Like, as cliche as that sounds, there really is. There's been amazing things that have happened because she had a stroke that wouldn't have happened if she didn't. Our family's really close, and my parents' relationship has grown 100 times. And there's just a lot of things, like I said, that happened in a good way because of something bad. And so being surrounded by my family members and everyone having the same attitude of being able to find the good in the bad and always expecting, I mean, there's nobody in my family that doesn't expect her to make a full recovery. And that hasn't, I mean, that's been it from the beginning, even when things did not look good for her in the hospital. But seeing her work towards that and seeing her grow and progress, even if it's minuscule, and I'm sure I can't even imagine how hard it is for her to not be able to do the things that you want to do and to be as vibrant and as energetic as she was, to fight and to get that back inch by inch as she has been inspiring to see as her son. And it makes me in whatever way is like, oh, if she's doing this, I can easily do this. You know what I mean? Like, whatever's hard for me, I've been blessed, and there's worse. And I mean, I know that's a common thing to say is, oh, there's always worse out there. But seeing that example firsthand of her pushing through that struggle is inspiring. And I know that she's going to do amazing things from it when she does recover fully. And I know that she's going to be able to touch a lot of lives and has touched, the lives in her family already and will continue to do so.
Thanks for sharing that. I know it's very personal, but it's what this podcast is all about. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
What are your goals this year, obviously, but what does your future look like, Kekoa?
I want to play football for as long as I can. I mean, that's been my dream and that's been my goal since I was a kid. And so just moving forward, my goals right now is to control everything that I can control and all the things that are within my control to give 100%. And a lot of times there's things in lives that we can't control that we focus on. And I want to work on just focusing efforts on the things that I can control. And so moving forward, just, giving my all for my teammates at BSU and, accomplishing our goal of winning a Mountain West Conference championship and onto a bowl game and, hopefully be able to play in the NFL. And then after that, I've always wanted to, I've known I've always wanted to work with my dad and my brother, and they own a construction company. And I think, once my football career is over, I want to start a nonprofit and partner with them. And I haven't really thought of all the details, but kind of just see what kind of work we can do in third world countries. They do a lot of water treatment plants and stuff like that. And so maybe, getting tanks set up in third world countries, whatever it is, but just kind of, that's the path that I want to head towards.
Pretty deep thoughts. How important is your faith in your life?
I think that's the foundation of really everything that I do in my life. Just the way that I was raised in having, Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father being the center of our home, and how that can draw families together and strengthen families. I know that that's brought us through a lot of different trials and and allowed us to have a lot of different amazing opportunities and experiences. And so being able to have that own foundation in my own life, regardless of the way that I was raised and whatever now. So like what I mean is I'm not doing it just because I was raised that way, but being able to have that own foundation within my own life has allowed me to see a lot of different blessings and things in my life that have allowed to kind of dictate certain actions that I have. And, I just want to make Heavenly Father proud of me, I guess, and follow him the best way that I can. And so that kind of just dictates all the actions in my life.
And finally, what inspires you?
My family inspires me. I mean, my family means everything to me, and seeing each one of my brothers and my sister and my mom and my dad and the people that they are and the things that they're able to overcome and accomplish. Like I said, I just want to make them proud of me and happy. And every time I go out before games onto the field and thinking of how proud they are in the stands, looking down onto me, running onto the field, making a play, whatever, it inspires me, like you said, to be the best that I can be and to move forward being the best person that I can be. They're definitely my foundation, and I would say my fiance as well. She inspires me to be the best version of myself and to push me to grow and be better. And there's a lot that I've learned from her as well.
Well, hey, I can't thank you enough for being on here. You're an amazing young man, and I think will inspire a lot of people through what you said today. And we look forward to following along this year with you. But thank you for what you shared. Very insightful comments into what matters and how to approach life and how to put God first and accomplish what he wants you to accomplish as you accomplish what makes sense for you too. So a lot to learn today, and we love and appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I loved it. It was a great time.
I want to thank everybody for listening and to strive for excellence.
You've been listening to the Inspire Excellence podcast. We invite you to find something that inspires you this week. Join us again for our next episode.